My name is Jasmine McBride, and I am the fundraising and events coordinator for Paws Claws Animal Rescue Foundation out of Red Deer, Alberta. I love what I do because it is very rewarding and fulfilling. It's something that you can't really describe when you get to see animals come in shut down and broken, and they transform into these animals that they should have been all along. Their personality starts to shine. They love people, they love treats and walks and all of these things that they've never got to experience before. You're right in the thick of it, so you get to see the difference between that time they walk in the door to the time that they find their forever home, and it's super rewarding. With the start of COVID-19, we had many initial concerns. We were obviously first and foremost concerned about our staff and volunteers and what this meant for their safety. So we immediately cut back on how many people could be in the shelter, of course, and let everybody know that if they weren't comfortable coming, that was more than okay. We also worried about our animals. So how long did this mean that their length of stay was going to increase from when they came in to when they could get adopted out? We never want to keep animals in the shelter very long. It's not a great place for them, of course. So we definitely wanted to see how we could navigate to make sure that they would still have the opportunity to get adopted. And of course, financial concerns are always huge in our minds. So we were concerned about what this meant for our future fundraisers. They're mostly community-based. We have a lot of open adoption events at our shelter where we process a lot of our adoptions. And we were just really concerned about if we were still going to be able to get the support of our community through virtual fundraisers at this point, or online donations only. We worked around the pandemic. We're still working around the pandemic with a lot of different protocols that we had to put into place. So we do adoptions still, which is wonderful, but we just had to change it so there's only one family allowed in the building at a time. We sanitize everything in between families, of course, and then we book them further apart so that we do have time to make sure that we don't have a ton of people in the shelter at one time. We've done a ton of online fundraising, so we've definitely done some extreme brainstorming to come up with different ideas that we could do online and still get to raise money for our shelter. So we have been so lucky to have the support of some amazing local places. Naughty by Nature did a macrame online class for us to raise funds, and Paint of Interest in Red Deer is actually going to do an online paint night for us. So we've definitely done a lot more creative work to bring in those funds. We've had a 50-50 bottle drive. Basically anything that you can do online, we've tried to run to make sure that we can keep our funds coming in so that we can keep our doors open. We've also worked around the pandemic by offering a lot more assistance to our community in terms of short-term stays, even in our kennel. So we work out of Classic Kennels, which is a local boarding and daycare facility, and they actually offered up their runs as well in case people in the community needed to go into the hospital or needed to self-isolate and couldn't take care of their pets for a shorter stay, so that they could still come in, they could be boarded, and they didn't have to worry about having to surrender their pet at the end of the day. So these were all things that we took into account with the pandemic, and really worked to find solutions so that we could keep our doors open and we can continue to help out in any way that we can with animals in the community. Positive occurrence that came from this. So we, and I think most shelters, have seen a drastic increase in foster and volunteer applications. So with everybody being home, they have the time, and we totally understand that. Obviously, we can't bring in a ton of new volunteers, and we haven't been able to do group orientations, but the foster response has been huge, as well as the adoption response. At this point, we receive hundreds of applications for each dog that we bring in to the facility and have up for adoption. So we can really work hard to find those animals their perfect home. And we've got lots of people that are looking, so they're not having that extended stay in our shelter. We've been able to adopt out some super hard to adopt animals that we did have at the shelter for quite some time, because people have the time and the patience and the willingness right now to work through the behavioral concerns that they may have had. So that kind of stuff has been great. We've also been really thankful to see the outpouring of support from the community. So as I mentioned earlier, just the local businesses that have stepped up to help us out when we really needed it, as well as local supporters and even not local supporters donating so much to animal care. We are so grateful for everybody that stepped up and still continued with donations and continued to attend our events even though they're virtual, continued to support us on Facebook and social media through liking our posts and sharing them. And it's been really heartwarming to see that people who are probably struggling a little bit themselves right now are still finding it in their hearts to reach out to their local rescue and donate items or money or whatever the case may be that we're looking for at that time. Every fundraiser that we've posted that we've had has been so successful when we've been terrified that it was just going to flop with how things are right now, and we cannot thank our community enough for coming together in this time and really working to make sure that we can keep doing what we do in animal rescue.